Alright, welcome to week 17. Sorry about last week. I couldn't get one of these out because my microphone right here was not working for some reason, but it's working now and hopefully it continues to work and I can keep spitting these out. So nothing special this week, but I think it encapsulates a lot of good lessons. Always learn from your losses, and it's a bit of a tough week for going long just because the markets were tanking, but I only traded 2 days, 4 trades total, and let's just get into it. This is TOPS. So trading on the 6th, Monday, so yesterday, before this day on the 5th, the markets were down the biggest point drop in the Dow history. So knowing that, let's look at yesterday. What did it do? It had a big tank in the close, and it performed kind of like the market, and it had to bounce into the close also. But we can see this bottom here is about 22 cents. Looking over on this chart, 22 cents is about here, and it has all this support throughout the past week. So I was thinking there was going to be a correction in the overall market, and that's what we actually got. But I wanted it to dip down here for my risk to be less, and that's kind of what we got at the open here. So the previous low was 22 cents. This, I figured dip buyers were propping it up, and so then it was going to make its bottom 23.5-ish. So I actually got in on one of these green candles here because I was anticipating it to do what the overall market was doing, that was just bouncing up. So that my goal is at least to sell half up here in the 26s, 27s. If it can't break out, sell it all. If it can, sell the other half at the top. But what we got, I was risking off this bottom right here, but we got this, and we started uptrending here. The volume did spike or get more volume until this point here. And then even though it was going up, it was getting less volume, and didn't like that, especially when it dropped off here, so I actually got out before my risk. This is kind of really important for this week for me about respecting risk. But we can see on this one, I got out before my risk and I was right. Going on to the next one, DPW, also the same day. And this is where problems kind of start. But again, okay, so let's look on the multi-day. This is DPW. I was trading it on this green day, and the reason I saw a bottom on this, roughly 122, was because it touched this support over here, 118 roughly. And that, so again, the Monday was this day. This was when the market tanked, uptrending a bit into the close. And we see the low here is roughly 117. So at the open here, I didn't like this drop here because I wanted to hold its to hold its support. But when it spikes up, goes green in the day, and over that same level, that's when ideally I should be buying it, but I was still in TOPS. So I actually got this on the confirmed breakout on this dip, which was an insanely good entry, because it doesn't really say it, but that's also the close, which was also about 120-ish. So getting in on the close, and I was risking the open here. It was super good risk reward right there. So what ended up happening was I thought I was going to kind of rip at least a little bit, more than this at least, but it didn't. Double topped here. Oh no, I'm sorry. I got out in here because it couldn't top, or it couldn't break this 130. There's huge sellers in here. The only reason I held on to it longer than I normally would have is because it was still holding its highs, which was surprising. And again, this kind of weirded me out because it was holding it near its highs, even though it had massive sellers up here. And again, like I said, my risk was down here. I got out for a small gain. Didn't respect my risk. I was in pretty big right in here. And again, I wouldn't have lasted this whole day, but if I could have made another 7 cents, that'd have been a lot better. But I also need to, what I need to consider most in these types of plays is if I'm going for that bounce, which I was, because I was trying to call the bottom, and if I'm buying in the morning, and especially if it doesn't break my risk, I need to be patient because this can happen on the first green day. And if this happens, then you can also have a better chance of it gapping up / spiking the next morning. So patience was big here. I actually used all three of my day trades on this one day, so I couldn't actually go long in the afternoon, but I was thinking about going long on this breakout here. You had another spot to get in here, then I would have been out up in here. If I would have made this trade, I don't think I would have held overnight, but I want to keep reminding myself to think of these as overnights because they are the first green day, and I think you all should be thinking of that also. It's a good rule just to have that extra thought, like what could happen the next day. So again, on the 6th, I was playing ANDI, and this was also kind of not frustrating because my thesis was correct in the end, and I really don't mind me getting out, and I'll explain it, and hopefully you can kind of see what I was thinking here. So this has been a recent runner, and I was playing it on this bounce day. It's an extremely low priced stock in the actual pennies. So in being so low, you have to think about your position size to get any sort of gain is going to be extremely high in the tens of thousands. So I was looking at this level here for a breakout. I think it was actually more 162 as a breakout, and kind of topped out here too. So I was willing to buy in right in this section here because I thought it could ramp up and had the higher lows and everything, and it's forming this U-shaped, and yeah. So buying this breakout, I got a pretty good price here. Maybe not actually that great, but in the 60s. My risk was in, let's see, where am I? Yeah, I was risking 58. Let me see if I got this right. Yeah, I was buying here, and I was risking, no, I'm sorry, I was risking 53. So long story short, it comes up, it was coming down here, and what I saw was, it's really scary because I had something like 80,000 shares, and so when it's coming down to my risk level, I'm always looking at the bid and the ask on level 2, and I saw that all the bidders got taken out, so there was a clear sight down all the way down to here, or it was actually somewhere way down here, which is insane. And when a bidder came up, I just took him out and sold, not because my risk was hit, not because my risk level was hit, but because I was scared that if it did tank, I couldn't get out with all 80,000 shares. So, but I should have been more conscious of what I'm playing in terms of, I apologize again, I'm sorry, I actually got in here. This looks more right, because I was risking the 58. Yeah, I'm sorry, I was risking down here. So I got in on this breakout over here. It was doing this thing, and I got out here. No, I got out here because the whole bottom fell up. No, sorry, I got over here. The whole bottom fell apart, or the bid fell apart. So you could see all the way down to the 50s, or the 150s. And then it finally got supported after I sold out, but it's just so scary to see all the way down through bids and not see any size. And that's why I got out early, because I thought if it does tank, I'm not going to be able to get out. Lo and behold, I would have had to go through 2 more minutes of pain, and then I would have gotten exactly what I hoped for, to be selling up near the 2 cent area. And again, I didn't have that same mentality of a hold overnight, so I would have been selling up in here for a very nice gain. The next day it did gap up, or a morning spike, I mean. So a lot to be learned with risk levels and cutting it too soon. Last play I did was today, INPX. So this was a big runner at the open, low float stock. It had some news. It wasn't super important. And I kind of thought about there's going to be a low float runner today because the markets started off down. So I figured everyone would gravitate towards the biggest runner, and that would just add more volume to it, so it would keep running. And to a certain degree, I was right in terms of this was a big move from the 350 to the over the fives. And I was playing it in here, and the reason I was doing that was because it had this. It had these higher lows. Oh. If we can draw this out here. So it had a couple halts, big sellers in the 530s and fives, just pushing this down. But with these higher lows here, I was getting in somewhere, I think in these greens, and I was out when it broke this trend, because I figured it would get some volume and do a quick spike up. I did think it was going to fail, so I was really going for like the 490s, fives to sell into and make 40 cents. But I took a super small position because it is super speculative, and I was risking this 45, and I got out right there on this red candle when it really broke trend, which was a good move, and I don't regret this at all. It's good to test, especially this low float. It can really move fast. So this was a good idea. A lot of small losses this week, but overall I think when I do capitalize on one, having more patience and sticking to my risk, I can really start turning things around and start banking. But from the looks of profits and all that, I mean, same old, I'm still losing money, but I'm just getting to the right spot. So hopefully everyone's did well this week or kind of stayed safe in the down market, and best of luck to everyone next week. Thank you.